Hello, and welcome to AZAAZ. That's Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho. This is Volume 1, Issue number 32 for Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. This is the show where you have questions about Zoho, and we over here at Zenatta have answers. And today, I have with us the one and only Wayne Martin. He's going to be here to answer some of your questions regarding campaigns and marketing automation, those kind of things. And then we've got Lucas and Landon, L&L. They are going to be also two of our senior consultants that are going to be actually answering your questions as well. And guys, with that, we have got a really, really big show. December, the year is 11 days left. Then we're done. 2024, what does it bring? What does it do? What does it mean?
It means really high numbers for the years. It's just too high of a number.
Going to 24. There we are, right around the corner. Here we go.
All right, this first one's from Anton. After watching Zoho CRM client script for secure capture, that's from last week's Zen show implementation by myself and one of our developers, JP. He says, now I'll have true data secured. By the way, is it possible to limit printing data from Zoho? Previously at one of my jobs, we had a situation where sales interns literally printed several hundreds of pages of confidential data and stole them. First of all, that's not great. Second of all, yes, it is absolutely possible. So for that, it's just some simple settings in the CRM. Go into setup, users and control, security control, profiles. Although, as of this morning, Zoho moved a bunch of stuff around in the menu, so I cannot guarantee that that's exactly where you go. Long story short, go to where you're editing your profiles and the permissions. So under other permissions down there, you can choose to restrict printing, and you do that by module. So you could say, okay, they can't print in deals, they can't print in accounts, but they can print in contacts, etc. Another thing, if your main concern is people stealing data, something like that, I would also say you probably want to restrict Zoho Sheet View, exporting, and then also share permissions. Those would be probably the minimum of what you'd want to restrict in that case. So,
pretty crazy, by the way, there the changes that were made to the menu on the back end of Zoho. But I have to say that video they did. So when you first go into settings on CRM now, that video is cool.
It's cool.
I mean, sure. Basically, in the past, it's like, hey, we're moving things around. We're not telling you. And you go there and you stare at it and you're like, hey, where is everything? Which is always great when you're on with the client. What?
Books change around and no one said anything. All of a sudden, we have like a couple of different systems going on at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it does make you kind of look foolish, though, because you're the Zoho expert. You go there and everything's in a different place, And I don't know about you guys, but for me, it always used to be I'd be rote, right? Like, I mean, I'd click and my mouse would just move to where it is. And when it wasn't there, you'd be like, what happened? It's been here for years.
Now, how do I do now? Yeah.
It's in a whole different spot. I know. All righty, moving on.
All right, the next question, Stingray Villa Cozumel asked after watching our YouTube Zoho social full product overview. Amazing video. I have one question though. If you have a post you did a year ago and would like to repost it, can Zoho Social go back and find that post and repost it on all channels? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I actually had to look this up. But I went all the way back to June 2021. We can see our old posts. And if I click into one, you certainly can pull it up. You can export it and send it as an email or PNG. But what you wanted to do is you could hit edit as a new post, but what I would do first is I would click embed this post or copy post URL, and then go ahead and edit as a new post. And then you can go ahead and tag it to all your channels and it's ready to go. Or if you just wanted to repost that link, you could get the URL link and then paste it in there as well. But what I did discover is it looks like it only goes back 2.5 years. So if you try to go back any further than that, you can't actually do what I just showed you, but 2.5 years is the cutoff. So I hope that answers your question regarding that.
You can't even get the
imagine
link
you
after
could
2.5
go.
years?
You couldn't.
I
You can't
imagine
get
you could go to the
equivalent
source.
anything past 2.5 years.
Yeah. Maybe
So
analytics.
you'd have to go back to like the original source, right? You'd have to go back to Facebook or wherever.
I mean, if you do, 20 posts a month, you're gonna be doing a lot of scrolling.
Yep.
At that point, you should just make a new post.
All right. So Jason Price asked in Club Zenatta, hey team, I'm using ClickSpot to bring ChatGPT into Zoho. Is there a way to use GPT-4? It looks like it uses version 3.1, and I'm an OpenAI paid subscriber. So Jason, good news is you can upgrade it to version 4. If you check Greg's code in Club Z, I responded to you on that post as well. You see that he was already using version 3.5 Turbo for most of it with some context and all that. So you can just change the model in there, just put GPT-4 as the model, and you'll be off to the races. You'll be using latest GPT information. You can even put in Vision in there. I don't know how that's going to integrate inside the API, but technically you could. So you can parse images inside of your.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
What about Bard and Gemini? You guys think those integrations are coming soon? I'm on Team Bard now. I'm kind of jumping ship from ChatGPT, switching to Bard.
Yeah.
I'm all in on ChatGPT. I haven't tried the other two out. I'm finding it to be really, really useful for, well, there's a lot of things, but it's kind of interesting. Like if you wanted to tag a blog post, so you've written a blog and WordPress, you've got it there, and you need to tag it. Just asking ChatGPT, what are the top 10 WordPress tags for this article? Give them to me in comma delimited format. And it gives them to you, and just copy and paste the tags in and just creates the tags. And, we did one the other day where it was, read this article and then find other articles on this website that we should do cross-links with, right? It took a long time, but it came back and said, here are the articles and here are, and that's the kind of stuff that would take humans a long time, right? I mean, just to kind of go through and do and see what you can do. And I know a lot of people are using it just to write their blogs and do all that kind of stuff, but there's a lot of really, really interesting features, especially on these custom. Jason, I don't know if you're going to build a ClickBot. I'm assuming you're going to build a custom GPT. Now, do Bard and the other one, do they have the ability to load your documents in and build a custom trained GPT like ChatGPT does now?
I know that Bard can. I don't know about the other ones though.
Gemini, I've never tried. Bard I know that you can put in context in there. You can preset some things. So
yeah,
I tried giving URLs for like all of Zoho's, not all, but a lot of Zoho's like deluge documentation into Bard. Still had a little bit of trouble. Not quite as good as ChatGPT when you do that, but hey, it's all Python-ish anyway, right?
Yeah, but the ChatGPT big power is if you put that documentation on the back end, right? You train it with that documentation. If you just hit the URLs, I don't think it handles it very well because it does have a cutoff. I think it's April or May 2023, something like that. So it might not get the most up-to-date versions of everything. So,
well, it searches Bing now. You can actually tell GPT-4 in your command to do this, search Bing, do that, bring it back. It's slower that way because it's got to go out and literally, like we would as humans, scrub the internet for all the garbage. Yeah. Right. So cool stuff. All righty. Good question, Jason.
All right. Next one comes from Daniel after watching how to import anything into Zoho CRM tutorial on YouTube. Says, what happens when I want to import a list of contacts that also has a list of associated deals? In other words, I'm a lender and I have clients and clients have loans. Some clients have more than one loan, so I can import clients, but then when it comes to importing their associated loans, how do I associate the loan file with the proper contact? Thanks so much. You guys are the best. So first of all, Daniel, thank you. And you're welcome. You're not wrong. We are pretty great. Second of all, what you'd want to do is import the list of contacts first. then import the list of deals. So, and in order to make it easy, I'd suggest going onto your field layout page where you're editing it, go to the email field, and then mark it as do not allow duplicate values. That allows you to, when you import, match up against that and check for duplicates, similar to how you would with a contact or a deal ID number, right? So then you can, as it's set on imported, goes to the deals to look up on the contacts module, and that way you can connect them pretty easy. So
Yeah, if not all contacts have emails, you could also create like a external ID, something like that, like an import ID of some sort, and mark that as unique. So that way you can relate it back to the deal whenever you're reporting it.
Yeah, I always recommend when you're importing stuff, especially if you're importing it from another system that has a unique ID, put that on the record. You can hide it. Doesn't have to be visible, but put that on there. It usually comes in handy later.
Alrighty, our next question comes from Dr. Matthew Bellinger, and this was after watching our YouTube video using Deluge to create pre-populated form URL in Zoho CRM. And yes, is it a custom function? Well, go further here. I'm building a referral program for my business. Forms to contacts opting in and getting their own pre-filled Zoho forms linked so I can track who referred who and determine type of reward based on one or two criterias. I can manually get the link with a pre-filled URL, Zoho Forms alias, but I would prefer a workflow giving them their link. They send it by SMS or email, and we get the referees as new leads. Very simple, but I don't know functions, although flow is okay, and I lack the experience. Any straight answer? Also, I see developers talking about creating a custom module for more data, but nobody differentiates it with just having a lookup in leads and related lists in contacts. Wow, there's a lot there. So we'll leave that last part out for a second. But I think the first part, Lucas, we were talking about this earlier. Without having to code, without writing a Deluge script, without doing any of that, which you can't, could you do this in formula fields?
Yeah, technically, you just need to create a text formula field and concatenate everything you need in there. So you wouldn't need any Deluge to make it work. You just have the pre-filled form URL as plain text in your record. And then you can use it for anything, text messages or emails, anything you want. So, yeah.
And I'm not sure what he's referring to about the custom module aspect of that.
I think he's talking about like a loading module, as we do with a lot of cases. When we, instead of pulling them straight into leads, we push them into a loading module and then run a bunch of code in there. And from there, create the lead, right? So that way you can associate with contacts, can associate with accounts. Maybe he's talking about it. If your form is simple and you just need create a lead, then create a lead, no biggie. But if you have complex stuff going in there and you don't want to code anything inside of Flow, and Flow makes it very, very hard for you to code within Zoho Forms. So just make sure that you put it in a loading module and then you'll be off the races.
Yeah. And Matthew, this is really one of those things, it's pretty simple if you know Deluge and you wanted to do it that way. But, this is one of those cases where Fiverr comes in handy. You can go on Fiverr, you can pay somebody $50 and they'll write the code for you. You'll have it done in no time at all, right? I mean, because it's just a simple hit thing you're looking for. Here's specifically what I need. It's not that big a deal. So there you go.
Elpis Admin asked for contacts, sending embedded Loom videos via CRM formula field. Does this still work? And the answer is yes, it still works. It's just, so if you see the implementation video, what we do is we create a formula field that gets the Loom share URL. It builds a GIF URL, so it's not technically embedding the video on it. It's embedding the GIF of the video on it and with the link for you to click. But it technically works, and it works very well. We have a lot of clients that use it, and they love it. It pretty much mimics the Loom integration inside of Google Gmail, right? So when you type something, it just pulls everything in there. But it does work. And another one for me, Lucas Samaras asked, how do I fetch related records with Zoho Flow? For example, I'm trying to fetch a contact module entry and then update the related account to which that contact belongs. For example, Fetch John Doe, who works for Zoho Corporation, updates Zoho Corporation with a value in a custom field. I tried to use a fetch contact action, but then the output includes both the account name and the account ID in an array format. It's actually a map format. Another example would be if you want to update a deal for a specific account. Do you always have to fetch by deal name, or can you somehow get the entry ID when you fetch account? Thanks. You're welcome. The short answer to this is that you can, inside of Flow, go inside of map objects just by using the dot notation. So in your case, since you're trying to get the account ID for a contact record, you could do contact record dot account name dot ID, and then you would have the ID for that contact record. And then you can use that in the fetch account, fetch record by ID block inside of Flow. Same idea with the deals. You can pretty much do that. I wouldn't recommend using Flow for like any updates inside of CRM because if you're triggering enough of updates, because it's now creating a whole different function inside of Flow and inside of CRM, creating a workflow there, making everything a lot clunky. If you could just use a workflow inside of CRM, and then whenever you push a payload to Flow, then you can use that tactic of whenever you need to get inside of an object, just use a dot notation, dot, and then you go into another level deep. If you need to go more levels deep, you can keep adding dots and keep going inside of maps. So yeah, hope this helps you a little bit.
All right, we're going to wrap it up with our last question from Matthias Faraz. This is over in Club Z, general discussion. He asked about Zoho Writer usability issues when creating a mail merge. It's a really interesting question. So if you're, what he's asking here is, hello community, I need you to be honest with me. Has anyone ever been happy using mail merge to create and edit documents? We need travel expense documents in Zoho People as I'm trying to edit a document based on a PDF template imported, and when I try to place and move the fields, it just wears out my patience. In the past, I gave up using Writer to manage documents, but I thought after 2 years they would have solved it. I tried using both in Chrome and Firefox. Is it just me? Has anyone in the community succeeded using Writer to create and edit documents? Here is a piece of that result, and it was a screen image that he put in there. When I try printing it in the fields, it appears out of place. Any alternatives to using mail merge? You know, this is interesting question. So I think mail merge is amazing. You can create the most beautiful documents in the world. But you're doing two different things here. It's a mail merge document, but it's a PDF document that you're trying to precisely place things on. Guys, I know that you can get down to all pixel level placement in Sign. Can you do that in mail merge? Because I know Zoho Sign on a PDF, you can kind of get down to pixel level. We've done a ton of stuff. Just so you know, Matthias, one of our biggest implementations we do for people, for so many customers, is the creation of custom documents from the CRM using mail merge. We usually create a button called create the document, create and send the document for Sign. There's a million different things, but you're in a deal record or whatever record, and you click that button and it creates a perfect document and sends it out for signature, or creates it and attaches it, does whatever you want with it. I don't know how much we spend doing that with PDFs, guys. I mean, how is Zoho gotten on that pixel level placement, which is really what he's talking about?
Yeah. So I think that the big thing for Mateus, his name is very good for me because it's a Brazilian name pretty much. So awesome. The way you place things, and because the PDF becomes pretty much an image, right? It just becomes an image. So you just need to place things in there, and it kind of becomes a background to whatever you're trying to place, whatever merge tags you're trying to place. In that image, he showed like everything falling back to the top left corner. But what you can do is you can add a text box. A text box you can pretty much overlay on top of anything. And that text box, you can put in merge tags in there. So create a text box and use that to place your merge tags in. I think that's going to make your life a lot easier than trying to place the merge tags and trying to like make them fit with like returns or spaces or tabulations or whatever. And another thing is, I noticed your document is fairly simple looking. It's a table with some text on top and all that. So another thing you might consider doing is just making like using Writer as Windows, just as a Word document, right? Just build the document in there, and then they will fall into place perfectly. Like inside of text, we use it a lot. They will just be text. You wouldn't be able to tell if it was made via automation or if you wrote that, right?
Yeah, we did that all the time. I mean, oftentimes people say they need to fill in a PDF, and we look at it like Matthias's document here, where it's like, that's nothing special. That's not a government required form XYZ123AB, right? That's just a kind of a simple form. So you could just recreate that, and then, like you said, it's perfect every time, right? Normally, I think the only reason you'd want to not recreate a document is if it's a government required document or a lender or an agency required document, right? Like lenders require specific documents sometimes, and those kind of things. But if you can recreate it, it'll probably be prettier. It'll make more sense, and like you said, Lucas, it'll be perfect every time.
Yeah. And the big thing is, like, if the name overflows, it will go to the next line. If you can even pre-fill like tables, you can pre-fill a lot of stuff if you decide to go that route instead of having to place pixel perfectly every text tag in there. So.
Well, and he mentions that it's for expense documents, so I imagine there's some calculations somewhere. So
yeah, it did look that like on the table. Yeah, I agree. But if you look at the image, it's pretty, and even that could all be calculated, right? He could even
you can even use there is a formula field you can place on tables in there, so you can
Coolio. All right, guys. Hey, we want to thank everybody so much for joining us here at AZAAZ today. And if you would ever want to get a hold of us, then please just head over to Zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting. We would love to talk to you about how we can help you with your Zoho implementation.
Awesome. And to stay up to date with our newsletter, just go to Zenatta.com/newsletter and sign up there.
And for more information on Zoho products, you can visit our resource library at zenatta.com/resources. Or if you have additional questions or want to get code share, visit club.zenatta.com for the ultimate Zoho community.
Head over to zenatta.com/training to get yourself and your team trained up in basic and advanced use of Zoho products in less than a week.
And be sure to follow us on social media, and we would love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you in a couple weeks, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Peter Piper Pective. I can't talk
Pickle
today.
peppers? Land
Yeah,
or land? No.